Hello, everybody. It's Dr. G live from Chiang Mai, Thailand. Good morning. Please go ahead with your questions. I'm ready for you. Good morning. Good morning. I'm not seeing a question yet, guys. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Here we go. Why is personal resourcefulness so crucial in 2025, especially with the rapid changes happening globally? Well, that's why. You see, now life is becoming more complex. The more complex everything becomes and the faster everything becomes, the more you have to slow down and simplify so that you can keep control and have a sense of peace and direction in your life. Now, personal resourcefulness is what I'm meaning by that is, well, I'm meaning a lot of things by it, but the fundamental thing is the world is really changing fast, and it's going to go way faster because of AI merging with the quantum computer. And then they've got all the infrastructure in place. That's why all the 5G towers and everything's there. So that everything is changing very rapidly. So personal resourcefulness means how you can rally what you know, what you have, and a frame of consciousness to adapt and stay on top of the game rather than getting swept under the rug and just landing up in some random place, living a life that you don't want, wearing clothes that you never wanted, doing what you never wanted to do. We don't want that to happen. So the world is the big macro world is changing. So the resourcefulness is you raising up the bar with everything that you are, know, have, to hold a consciousness and a frequency of vibration where the universe is supporting you. Did I answer that question? That's a very large, broad, general question. Not easy to give a specific answer to that. Here's from Shiba. In what ways can I use my pain as a catalyst for personal growth and to inspire others who are struggling with similar issues or challenges? Well, let me speak from direct experience because I've been living in continual pain, a lot of physical pain for over a year now. And all through my life, on and off. Um, as a catalyst for personal growth. Whenever we're in pain, as soon as you're in pain, your awareness comes up fast. Like, for instance, if let's say you have a bruised rib or a cracked rib, and it makes you very aware in a hurry about breathing and about coughing or sneezing. You never knew until you have that pain how much that internal pressure changes inside your body because you sneezed or coughed or when you breathe. You're not aware of that. The pain makes you aware of it. Pain is a message. It's the body the body temple is trying to tell us something. So the something is the awareness comes up. Now, that's a catalyst for personal growth because you become aware. You start to care for yourself, so you're learning healing. And then your example and your advice coming from that experience is how you help other people grow. You know, there's a very famous Zen story. It's a real story. I don't remember the name of the Zen master. He was a guy who was like living like a monk under a bridge, but he was very famous in the area. This is in feudal Japan. And a couple, husband and wife, came over to him and asked them, "Can you give us really important advice for our life?" So he says, "Yeah, come over here." So his husband and wife, come over, and he takes them and smacks their heads together, and he said, "There you go, Zen way." What he's trying to do is give them a direct experience, which comes through pain. Most of us, all we do is live in our head, and they never realize it until they're dying. And then when they're dying, when a person is dying, if they have enough time, if it's slow and they're just waiting to die and they know they're dying, all of the mental games come to an end because there's nowhere for it to go. And then all of a sudden, they, at some point in their death process, they're confronted with actual reality. They're going to leave. They're not coming back, and the body is dying. And there is a direct experience, and it cannot be escaped. None of us are going to escape that experience. So pain is in many ways is a wonderful gift. Don't get me wrong. I don't enjoy pain at all, but it is a very much a kind of a gift. Most of the reason that I'm G. Rex Kruhly now and able to advise people all over the world is specifically because I've gone through a tremendous amount of suffering. All the greatest artists, all the greatest musicians, always have gone through tremendous suffering. Always. No exceptions. Did I answer that question? Kimberly, everything changes for me so fast. It seems that when I don't focus on one thing and just ride the waves, everything works out like it's supposed to. It's the fast changes that surprise me the most. It's almost like time has very little usefulness for me anymore. It's quite extraordinary to witness. Hmm. Um, in Kimberly is undergoing a very profound spiritual awakening. Um, the divine is facilitating that for her, and because of that, her consciousness is rising very rapidly. And then, of course, it's like time uh, won't have anything to do with. Once you're fully permanently enlightened, Kimberly, time. I was in that state once for like 45 minutes in 1991. Time has no relevance at all. Nothing at all. And all of the universe is operating automatically. Everything is dependently arising, dependently ceasing, and time has no part in it whatsoever. Past, present, and future are all there at the same time. Only the mind perceives time and space. That's what the mind perceives. but it has no reality whatsoever. It's just that in the consciousness that we are, it looks real. Okay, just like for instance, I'm looking at the sun, and I we think I'm sitting here looking at the sun way over there. You know, I don't know how many millions of miles away. No, uh, the seer, the seen, and seeing is one. There is no separation whatsoever. That's why I can do the work I do. I don't. If I want to send you a frequency to heal something, when I as soon as we're connected, we're connected. It's just the same as if you were sitting right here and I was holding you in my arms. No separation at all. That's how it all works. And the mathematics has been proven and peer reviewed for that. Whether the mathematics is there or not is completely irrelevant. Mystics have been doing all the things they've been doing for thousands of years. With nobody cares about science. Science is novel and it's fun, but it's not necessary. How does personal resourcefulness relate to quantum physics and the morphic field? Okay, so what a beautiful question. Very, very deep question. How does personal resourcefulness relate to quantum physics and the morphic field? Everything relates to quantum physics and the morphic field. So quantum physics is like uh, a lens for looking at the energetics of being of reality. It's a lens. To this day, quantum physics is the most accurate um, science or lens available. Newtonian physics was not. So quantum physics is the most accurate science ever developed so far. Morphic fields are reality, all reality. So personal resourcefulness exists inside the morphic field. And personal resourcefulness is based on the biologic organism that we're examining. Personal resourcefulness of a human being versus, say, the personal resourcefulness of an animal. Now, at the time that the dinosaurs went extinct, Bruce Lipton very good at explaining this. The dinosaur is a huge animal, but it has a very small brain. So the size of the animal, as long as with a small brain, the as long as the environment, the morphic field that he's living in, is stable and predictable, it can exist. As soon as there was massive change, geophysical, weather, everything changed very, very fast. The small brain cannot handle the administration of that giant animal. It doesn't have the resourcefulness to take on the change in the field. And the field is represented by the weather, the light, the food, the environment. That's all a morphic field. That is everything is a morphic field of one level or another. So without the resourcefulness, the dinosaurs die. That's it. That's why I've advised everyone in that little video I made before my collective at the end of this week to watch the movie Flight of the Phoenix, which is a true story. And make sure you get the movie, the original one with Jimmy Stewart. It's a magnificent movie. But that's a true story. And you will see in no uncertain terms what resourcefulness really is. That is absolutely incredible. But that's a beautiful example. And these guys, they crash in a desert. So that desert, that's the geophysical morphic field they're in. That's the overarching macro reality. Quantum physics is the lens, and in my case, I am able to use the frequencies. The frequencies are in the field. Quantum physics shows us how to use it and why it works. So I hope I answered that question. That's a very profound question. I like that a lot. Could write a book about that. Next question. Okay, Shiva. Is there a spiritual connection, mostly on my side? My right arm is cold to touch upon waking in the morning, along with neck and shoulder pain. Okay, so if you went to see a regular doc, first thing they're going to look at is the nerves, and they'll be checking along your neck and the brachial plexus to see if there's some kind of problem. Okay. Right arm, anything on the right side of your body from the midline, mid sagittal line, going to the right is the future from today going forward. And the left side is today going backward. And when it's your arm and that you think about and shoulder, you think about future stress, work that you have to do that you might be resisting, um, shouldering responsibilities of some kind that you have stress over. So that will give you the a window into looking for the cause, and then that energetic spiritual cause will affect the nerves. So that the energetic field precedes the physical issue, which would be like the nerve. And does that make sense? Like the your body wants to tell you that you're stressed, worried, or have some anxiety that may be at a deep level that you're not aware of about the future. Can be the far future, the present future, it can be next week. And then that's what's going on. You're not really aware of it, so it wants to make you aware of it. And it'll even move the spine, sublux the neck to pinch a nerve, etc., etc., etc. That's why you go to a regular doc, they only work on the body. The body is an affect. The body is not a cause. It doesn't cause anything. So they work on the body, and then they fix something, and then it comes back. It comes back because your body say, "Hey, you didn't get the message. I want you to be aware of this or that." So that's how that works. Does that make sense? Kimberly, also watching the things programs bring up is interesting. I ask for those to be resolved or healed at that time. There are a lot of them. Do those programs cause pain in areas they are released? Do those programs cause pain in areas they are released? Kimberly, I don't understand the question, honey. I asked for those to be resolved or healed at that time. Yes, there's a lot of. Do those programs cause pain in areas? I don't understand the question, sweetheart. Do those programs? Let's. Here's one. While she's doing that, Sheba has. Are there any signs that indicate I'm moving toward alignment with my true self and healing path? Anytime you want to know if things are aligned, you will see a flow. It will be simple. It'll just, there won't be resistance. It'll work. It flows nicely. That's how you know if you're aligned. As far as aligned with your true self, that's a big question. The true self is that's a very very high level. Um, it's more accurate to say aligned with your truth now, because your truth will change all the time as you advance up the scale on your path. So I would say align with my truth, because the self is the actual self is just an illusion created by the mind. When a person reaches enlightenment, if they're granted enlightenment, um, the self just disappears. Okay, there's the little self, and then there's the big self. So the big self is universal, and the little self is the illusion. Okay, can you share a time in your own life when personal resourcefulness was the key to overcoming a major obstacle? Well, yeah, I mean, I can do that from the time I was a kid. Let me see which one to select. In 1991, when I moved, I had my enlightenment experience of 45 minutes at the University of Windsor. Um, and as soon as I came down from that, took about 2 days or 3 days to come down from that experience because it was so profound. All I knew was I had to leave Canada and move to California. That's all I knew. I had no money at all, nothing. I was a student at the University of Windsor, and I was 31 years old. And immediately I knew I had to go. That's all. I had to go. I found out why I had to go later, but all I knew then was I had to go. Now, I had never been out of Windsor in my life. I was 31. It's all I knew, and I had no money whatsoever. I was living on student loans. To move to California, you need a visa and you need all kinds of stuff. And I just prayed on it and ramped myself up. And then I got an idea. I shared it with my old buddy Joe that I got to go. And Joe was a dear friend of mine, older man. So Joe suddenly mortgaged his house because I needed $50,000. I had to show $50,000 in my bank account before they would give me a visa to go to America. And I had nothing. So Joe, which I never dreamed of, um, through that connection, he mortgaged his home, got me $50,000. We deposited it in my account, waited a few days, whatever the number of days. Then I took that out of there, gave it back to Joe. We got the visa, and in a matter of a couple of months, I mean, like 2 months, 3 months, I was on a plane going to California, but I don't know anybody there. I don't have any vehicle, nothing. And I got a place to stay at a lady's house. And then I found out that I could buy a cheap bicycle at Stanford University. I went down there, got a bicycle. So then from there, I started to drive all over the place looking for work, try to find work under the table, wanted to find students. My drive was to build a dojo. And that all unfolded, and I worked and prayed and worked and prayed. It did different mantras, thousands. And next thing I knew, I was teaching at a big giant karate school. Met Malana Sheikh Nazim. He prayed for me. They gave me 40,000. A guy gave me $40,000 next week. I built the Dosatsu Ken Dojo. I started teaching the military and NASA, and all that happened because of my drive and resourcefulness and making things. Because I'm not going to take no. Nothing going to stop me. When you want resourcefulness, you got to have resolve. Period. Does that help? Can you release healing of the programs cause the pain? Yes, that's what I do. Um, she asked a question. Kimberly has a deep question. Can the release healing of the programs? Oh, pardon me. Can the release of the programs cause pain in the body? No. If a program is being released, you will not experience pain. No. Okay, and I checked it. No. Interesting question. Okie dokie. Jury. This might sound silly, but if it is quantum, I'm going to say that's four, just a guess. What is the four, or what does the four represent? Or maybe I just assumed. Jury, honey, I don't understand your question at all. Let me read it again. This might sound silly, but if it is quantum, I'm going to say that's four, just a guess. What is the four, or what does the four represent? Or maybe I just assumed quantum would have four parts. I'm sorry, sweetheart. I completely don't understand what you're trying to ask me. Can you try to reword that for me? Kimberly, I experience intense heat and tingling in my hands and feet during meditation, and sometimes right at bedtime. I don't know why. I don't know why either. Um, you're going through a very different process than anyone else that I'm aware of right now. I don't have any other clients going through a process like you, and I also have not been in your kind of process. So I don't know what the intense heat and tingling in the hands and feet are during the meditation. But whatever it is in your case, the divine is working on you, and chakras are being activated. That affects the different areas in the brain. Brain is being changed, um, in neurobiologically changed for you. So there's a lot going on there, and all for you. You just trust the process and don't worry. Okay, Shiba. How do I define healing, and what does it mean to me on a physical, emotional, and spiritual level? Okay, good question, honey. Um, how do I define healing? How do I define healing? That's a good question. How do I define healing? Um, so in terms of physical healing, what I define healing as is your body, if everything is okay and your life, emotional life is okay, good is all good, spiritual life is good, there will not be pain. There will not be restriction. You can see some examples of very high level people, often in the like the yogic kind of communities or in the Taoist communities, and you'll see these people, their life is just this continual blessed flow. If you look at their body, you'll watch it's absolutely effortless, beautiful, no arthritis, no restriction, no weakness. They live their experience of life is if they're like a spiritually enlightened kind of a person, they'll exude a kind of causeless love, causeless joy, which is the state Sri Rama Bhagavan is instilling in us now. Um, and this is possible. They've shown this in laboratories around the world with a single cell. They'll take a single cell, they put it in an ideal environment in a petri dish, and they never die. Over 60 years, never die because the environment is perfect and everything's fine. So the cell literally is like immortal. It's unbelievable. But that's the potential for us. So that's but you see, the universe is also designed to give us challenge. The challenge creates the growth. So I know I'm not a person with, I have no level like that, so I can't speak from that level. Um, the closest we ever came, most of us, is when we were little children, and your body's like a Gumby, and you can just do everything and anything, and um, so that's how I would think of healing. Is there's a flow, there's a happiness, and there isn't the restriction, physical restriction. Um, not just all fear and tenseness. And does that make sense? I can't just give that like a simple answer. It's a very big question. Hello, you guys are asking me some really good stuff today. What are some simple but powerful subconscious reprogramming techniques for shifting into a resourceful mindset? Lovely. Okay. So the question is asking specifically subconscious reprogramming technique. So that's when you do psyche. You would form precision sentences uh, of how resourceful you are, how capable you are, how abundant you are, that you've been there, done that before, that you recognize patterns, that you have control of your life, and then you take Psych K and you do Psych K. Each really important sentence, do it 7 days in a row for 5 minutes, and that will subconsciously reprogram you to be resourceful. So when challenge comes, you don't fold. You don't cower and shrink away. You don't get overwhelmed. And subconscious reprogramming is very, very important for resourcefulness, because without it, when I first moved to Thailand and I was teaching in Puru, and I first encountered Thai children for the first time and the Thai school system, and I was going nuts, and I was very angry and so frustrated because it's worlds and worlds apart, different than the West. And then it dawned on me to use Psych K and reframe and reprogram myself for teaching Thai children the way for me to change and be resourceful, and I had to change to go into the system instead of trying to make that system come into me. And I did. And then I had a totally different experience. Everything improved, and I was creating it subconsciously using Psych K. That's how you would do that. Does that make sense? Hello, Sensei, your pal from Houston. Oh my goodness. Hello, Doctor. Is a doctor, Mr. Dr. Lindley, absolute genius, master doctor, and my senior. Hello from back to Houston. I hope you're doing great, pal. How to use resourcefulness to create positive impact in quantum fields? Let me think about that for a second. How to use resourcefulness to create positive impact in quantum fields. Um, Shiba, you use the quantum field to uh, give you the resourcefulness or impact your resourcefulness. Uh, you um, you you don't use resourcefulness to impact a quantum field. The quantum field is the medium of life, of everything, and you uh, as a being in a body, you have to be able to survive, produce, contribute within that while you're in this body, and you're doing it within the quantum field. So the quantum field is the medium. So what you're asking is, like, if you're swimming in the ocean, how can your swimming impact the ocean? It you know, you're swimming in the ocean, honey. Okay, does that make sense? What are some signs that someone had subconscious resistance to being resourceful? Um, when to see that, so subconscious resistance to being resourceful, they just when there's change, the person just walls up and will not adapt at all, or they will shrink down and just die or be overwhelmed or submit. They have no um, you'll see them. It's like a kind of shrinking, or very very stubborn in a particular frame of mind. They will not change, or they will not whatever, and within the greater medium, whatever that medium is. If you're in a war, for instance, let's say there was an actual physical war. I can't sit here with a glass of beer and a cigar and relax while people are coming to kill me. I can't pretend. You know, that's a silly example, but the resourcefulness is, if there's a war, I have to survive, and I'm going to do and adapt, overcome, and improvise, as the Marines say, to whatever it is, however it is. Period. That so if they won't do that, or they can't do that, they just shrink right up, ball up. That's will be subconscious and fear based and all of that. Does that make sense? What role does intuition play in being resourceful and adaptable? Intuition is a kind of a wisdom. So let's say the example of, say, someone where they crash, the plane crashes, and they're way up in the wilderness somewhere. One person, if they let's say there's a couple of people, if the one of them has an intuition of how to survive in the woods, which direction to move in, what's a good place to make shelter or something. They have an intuition. Um, it's a kind of a wisdom and a kind of knowing, and of course, that kind of wisdom or knowing can be utilized strongly for how to be resourceful, adaptable. If they have no source, whether it's intuition, or if it's like knowledge from data, they read a book or something. They don't have that. Be very very hard to be resourceful. If you're in some kind of danger, like a danger scenario, there's an instinctual kind of intuition that will generally come, unless fear and that is just so great and it overwhelms them so much, they go into condition black, and then they can't do anything. But always think of intuition is a, a deeper level of knowing. It's a deeper level of knowing than just the mind. Intuition will be more, it comes from the gut. Does that help? Hello. Hello, Lakim. Glad you're here. Why do some people thrive in chaos and others collapse? Well, that'll become subconscious programming first and foremost. Um, let's take a child whose father was, like my dad. He was a boxer, World War II, naval officer, tough as nails, worked hard all his life. And then let's take another boy, and let's say he's raised without a father at all, no father figure. Um, Mom is a sweetheart, but she's, let's say, she's timid and just does menial tasks to try to make a living. and the boy doesn't receive any kind of inspiration from older men on what to do or how to be a man. And then we find these two guys, the two different boys, at the age of 35. Let's say there's a great big depression, or there's war, or there's some kind of geophysical calamity, and the one kid that grows up with the tough father that was a boxer and always demonstrated grit and determination and personal pride. That guy, he takes on the challenges and he's handled everything okay, best he can. But the other poor guy, he doesn't have anything in his database to give him a hand. He has no examples, no inspiration. Nothing's ever toughened him up. So he dies, or he's overrun, or he becomes a slave, or whatever. So that's the primary reason. That's why. Next question. I love these questions. How to be resourceful when you feel you've used all your resources? Okay, good question. So when in the old Civil War movies, they're on horse and they charge, and a lot of them die, and then they fall back and they regroup. They regroup. You have to regroup, and then reframe. So you uh, take account of reframe is step back and get a pen and paper, always pen and paper, and start to write down all the things that you do have that are at your fingertips, that are possibilities. You may want to recall prior successes where you faced challenges and you overcame them, you made it, to build up your self esteem and your sense of strength and ability, and then go back with that battery regrouped, refreshed, go back at the challenge, whatever the challenge is. That's how you do that. You have to regroup and recover. And there's nothing wrong with that. Don't ever think that that's weak or anything. That's necessary. I do my regrouping and my reframing every single morning before I see you guys. That's why I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I do all my preparations, and I'm reframing and building myself for the day. Make sense? Well, a long one here. Let's see. Why is it so powerful and effective when I instinctively use the energy of my heart and use my mind to focus very specifically on the outcomes I want? Manifestation happens quick when I let go and just flow. Why is it so powerful and effective when I instinctively use the energy of my heart and use my mind to focus very specifically on the outcomes I want? Well, that's the way it all works. So you have an outcome that you want, and you apply the energy and focus on it. Then you say you let go, let it flow. That is the ideal recipe. That's exactly the ideal recipe. It's all occurring because of resonance. It happens because of resonance. And you focus in on the outcome and that, and then when that's really, really clear, the universe can endorse that. The clearer it is, the more it gets endorsed. And if it's fueled by real emotion, it has real power. If you do that, let's say 21 days in a row, at the same time every day, in the same location, like the same room, it has a special power. If you want to get real technical, you generate the feeling and the focus, the outcome, for 12 minutes, 12 straight minutes, 11 days in a row. And that'll imprint the field, and then the universe will give you that result. It'll really happen. The other thing is, if you're like me, I'm a bhakta, so my way is through prayer and the divine. When you focus very clearly, specifically on the outcome, the divine can provide it for you very easily. As long as it's really sincere and it's good for you and everyone else, the divine will not support something dark. The dark side supports something dark, but not the divine. And then the divine will provide that for you, especially if you have a bond. With the divine, you always need a bond. If you're going general to the general whole universe, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that it's a lot weaker, a lot slower. Depends on the person. Did I answer that question? Can resourcefulness be used to repair damaged relationships or create stronger connections? I've never thought of that. Can resourcefulness be used to repair damaged relationships? Um, I've never thought of resourcefulness in that way. Damaged relationships are a little bit more of a different kind of a category. I can't think of any way to apply at least my understanding or concept of resourcefulness to repairing damaged relationships. The hurts need to be removed. Like when I work on my clients and they have damaged relationships, I remove the hurts or the pain, and then see if forgiveness occurs if consciousness rises, and uh, and then forgiveness happens as a natural outcome. It just happens as a natural outcome. Um, I can't think of any way to use resourcefulness in that context. Next. What practices can be implemented day to day to improve the ability to adapt and create? Oh, I love that, Sheba. What practices can be implemented day to day to improve the ability to adapt and create? Well, uh, so I adore that question. So, what we're referring to here, Sheba, is the process. Everything is a process. So, the practice for adaptability or creativity or anything is first and foremost to be um, practicing how to be as mindful or as conscious as you can. And the trick to that is observation. Observation of what? Inner observation. of yourself. Inner observation of yourself. Non-judgmental. So as much as you're able to, you notice your inner dialogue. What is the story? What is it looking at? Like, I can be looking at the mountain over there, and my inner dialogue will go to like some movie, uh, a movie scene or something. It just wanders to whatever. Try to notice where your inner dialogue, what it's looking at, what it's focused on. The moment you look at the inner dialogue, it'll stop. It'll stop, and you'll come into the present moment. Adaptability can only occur when you're um, in the present, adapting to what is. The what uh, is the context, and the what is dependent on your perception. Adapting or creating or anything like that is dependent on the consciousness of the person. It, it's all dependent on the conscious. That's why coming in to see me to have depth healing sessions is so useful, because depth healing works specifically on changing perception. It's always removing lower perceptions. Lower perceptions are limiting, limit, um, lack. I can't. I don't. I won't. Um, I can't see where I'm going. All of that is being removed, and the higher perceptions are coming up. The higher the perception, the more adaptable you are, the greater you will be able to create, because the consciousness is available to do it. So that's what you. Time's up. Oh, I have a client. I have a client in 2 minutes. Thank you for reminding me. So thank you all very, very much. Questions today were profound. You could write a book on almost any of them. Thank you all very, very much. See you at the end of this week, eh? Don't forget, this is the roller coaster month. We're between eclipses right now. There are 3 planets in retrograde. Watch your emotions and come on in and see me. I'll take care of it for you. Bye for now, folks. Thank you very much, Johnny. Bye bye.